Hello. Today we have the big honor to have our guest, Dolly Vyas Ahuja, with us, the producer of the new film, The Land of Ahimsa, a documentary about the animal industry in India and with special focus on the dairy industry. And we have had the pleasure to actually see a screening of the film, and it was an amazing film, very strong and beautiful and true. I mean, you really feel the truth and the path forward in this film, a brave film. Her mission today is to spread awareness and educate about the cruelty in the dairy industry. But it's one more thing with Dolly. She is actually the granddaughter of a freedom fighter in India who was working together with Gandhi. And that is also a very special thing.
She frequently speaks at Jain temples and various speaking events to stress the importance of switching to plant-based diets for the animals, the environment, and human health. She has also spoken at the World Vegan Conference in Kathmandu in 2022 and in New Delhi in 2019. She has also spoken at various venues, including Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, LA Reggae, VegFest, Vegan Radio, Rice University, and the Consulate of India in New York. Dolly, welcome to our show. Tell us, what was it that made you decide to do this film, The Land of Ahimsa?
Yes, but first, thank you both for having me on this podcast. I'm so honored. And so my name is Dolly Vyas Ahuja. I'm a Ahimsa animal activist. And, once I went vegan, I knew I wanted to be the voice for the voiceless. And what motivated me to do this film is I started making a lot of friends on social media in India, a lot of Indian activists. And I was invited actually to go to the largest animal liberation march in Mumbai, India. And I told my husband, I have to be there with my brothers and sisters, and I'm an activist, and I want to march with them just like my grandfather. And during that time, I was also invited to speak at the World Conference in New Delhi, India. And so I told my husband, prior to this, I made a YouTube channel. And I started putting recipes on the YouTube channel. I started interviewing doctors, environmentalists. And I told my husband that, when we go to India, I would love to interview some activists and doctors for my small YouTube channel. And he's like, sure. And then I must have slept on this for 5 days, woke up one morning and I told him, you know what? Why don't we do a documentary? If we're going to travel India, do all these interviews. I know there hasn't been a documentary in India yet. So he's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And he happened to have a good family friend who was a Bollywood director. We called him up. He's like, I've never done a documentary, but I'm up for challenges and I'll help you guys. And that's how this all got started,
Wow.
Mm.
Super. Will you tell us a little bit about your grandfather as well? Because I know this is a very important thing in the film and also for your own history. I mean, you are telling in the film about you went vegan overnight and you really
Yes.
you really realized what's going on in the dairy industry and the animal agriculture, but also you really link this very much to your own history and your own family. It would be lovely to hear a little bit more.
Yes. So my grandfather's name is Chhagan Lal Joshi. And he fought with Gandhi side by side. He was with Mahatma Gandhi in the ashram. He's gone to jail with him for activism. He was the organizer of the Dandi Kuch March, the Salt March, side by side. So he was always with Mahatma Gandhi. And, I'll never forget, we would go on summer vacations to India. And I was about 13. And my grandfather was pretty strict. He invited me to his office, asking me a lot of questions. And I just wanted to go and play with my cousins. And he asked me, are you vegetarian? And I was very scared. So I'm like, yeah. And I just wanted to go play with my, my cousins. And then he asked me, do you know what ahimsa means? And I'm like, no. And he's explaining it to me. And then I just started playing with my cousins. But today I understand, after I had my awakening and learned about ahimsa, today I understand what my grandfather was trying to teach me.
Mm.
And so my grandfather and Gandhi, they started this khadi movement, which means they spun pure cotton on a spinning wheel. And they all wore khadi clothes because back then we were under British rule and we only could wear British clothing. And so Gandhi decided that everyone should wear pure khadi, make it, move it, and sew it and wear khadi clothes. This created a movement because the British industry were on their knees. They were asking Gandhi to negotiate with him, and it created a movement. So in the same way today, Dr. Rao and I, we're asking people to go vegan, not to wear khadi, but let's go vegan. Let's create a movement just like Mahatma Gandhi did. And once we do that, once the whole community and people go vegan, the industries will have to change, just like it did in 1920 in the khadi movement. Yeah.
Just to add, the vegan movement and animal liberation movement as well is very much linked to peace and to work for a better world even for humans. So, it's very much linked to a peaceful world. So we can see that on all levels. So it really benefits everyone to have a vegan world.
Yes. And he was a freedom fighter. So today I am following in my grandfather's footsteps. And I'm also a freedom fighter, an animal freedom fighter, fighting for the greatest social justice issue talked about today, which is speciesism.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Dolly, you told in the movie that you went vegan overnight after a meditation under your meditation tree.
Yes.
Can you tell something about a bit more about what you experienced during that meditation?
Yes, and I love to tell this story. So I started practicing the way of the Tao and Taoism. And a Taoist teacher had told me that, connect with nature, always meditate outside in nature because sky is the limit. And connect with the tree, always meditate with the tree, under a tree. This is how a lot of the saints, Lord Buddha even, got enlightenment under the Bodhi tree.
Yeah.
So he taught me, make a relationship. So first, change oxygen and CO2 with the tree. So I would put my hands up, breathe, and started exchanging CO2 and get permission from the tree as well to do this. And then I started putting my hands in the soil of the tree. And I asked the tree, remove all the toxins in my body and decompose it to positive energy. I would do this every day. So soon after this, I started watching videos on the Garrison Therapy Clinic where they're making carrot, ginger, apple juice to cure cancer. And I really got into it. So I started getting into juicing. And I felt this tremendous energy. I started making it for my kids. I bought my first juicer, woke up at 5 o'clock, making that carrot juice. Pretty soon, then I started getting into smoothies, green juice, lemon water, lemon, ginger, mint. I still do that today. And I wasn't vegan yet, but I really started feeling good just by juicing. I continued to meditate at the tree. And, I asked the tree, show me truth of this world. Show me knowledge, compassion. Let my heart multiply and multiply and multiply. And so when I came home walking my dog one day, I was watching a juicing video and I bumped into another video called The Best Speech Ever by Gary Yavalsky. And a lot of people might have seen this video. It was on animal cruelty. And I watched all of it and gosh, it tore me. It tore me to my core. I mean, I'll never forget that night when I went to go make some food. I pretty much had a breakdown on the kitchen floor. And I knew right then and there, no longer did I want to ingest fear, slaughter, pain in my body. And I woke up the next morning, and being an Indian, we have to have our Indian chai. I just went to the grocery store and picked up my first almond milk, put it in my chai, and that was the beginning. You know, I learned how to make my own almond milk, my own cashew milk at home. Now I'm really into oat milk, putting that in my chai, which I love. And this is how it has started. I still meditate at the tree today. Everything that I have manifested, the tree has brought me. I wanted to meet Dr. Will Tuttle one day, and I told the tree, I've got to meet him. I got to meet him. That same day, he was going to be doing a show in Texas, and I went last minute. And so my husband and I had to sit separately. And when I put my plate down, right on my right-hand side was Dr. Will Tuttle. And we got to talk. Later in the future, I got to host him at my house. So everything in my life is because of my healing tree. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really. So beautiful. When you realized how the dairy industry is actually destroying families and destroying for the animals in so many ways, did it come as a shock for you? Were you prepared? How much have you actually, when you saw it in India in your film, what's actually going on the ground, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, so when I was young and we'd go every summer, we thought, wow, look at all these cows. It's so cool. And the farmer would come right to the door and milk the cow. And you're so disconnected as a child. You think this is so cool. When I saw what happened, it was devastating. And of course, when I went to India, now I have a new set of eyes to see. Cows on the street. Basically, what the farmers are doing are letting them on the street. They milk them twice a day. That's when they collect the cows. But otherwise, they're on the street, and they think people will feed them. Now, a lot of people do feed them because cows are holy and sacred, or give some water. The farmer just doesn't have enough land. He doesn't have enough food or water. They're hungry. They're thirsty. They're eating plastic. It is very, very sad to see. And it's really sad because now even cows in India have this disease called some kind of lumpy disease, and it's catchy, and it's so hard. But just like when I was a kid, I think most people are just used to seeing cows in India on the street, and they just think all this is normal. They don't know what's going behind this white glory. How are they making these cows pregnant? Where are the male cows? You know, we're the largest beef industry and second largest in leather in this world. How could this be in the land where the cow is considered holy and sacred? So it was a shock. But the more I went to India, the more I come to know that this is just how they live. You know, they're gonna live on the street. The farmer just doesn't have enough land, or the farmer may even poison them and say nature took them, or sell them. All kinds of things are going on. But when you are disconnected, you just think, wow, this pretty little package of milk is coming to my door, and I'm going to have it because it's good for me. It's holy, it's sacred, it's giving me calcium. And people are still very, very much disconnected of what's going on.
I must admit, Dolly, that when I learned the truth about the dairy industry, I felt ashamed for not knowing that cows only give milk when they have calves to feed.
Yeah.
And I now I just don't get it. How can we be so blind collectively? And what is your own experience with that? And how do we need to deal with these feelings of guilt after having discovered the truth about the dairy and meat industry?
Yes. So, you know, all my life, I didn't eat well. So my mom, of course, scolded me, drink your milk, drink your milk. How will you grow properly? this has been embedded in our brains since birth. I did the same to my daughter in the morning before school. You know, Rosie, drink your milk, drink your milk. How will you have strong bones? It's so embedded. You know, society has made animal exploitation normal, natural, necessary. It's not our fault. We all grew up this way. The industry paints a pretty picture because we're buying this beautiful ice cream and milk and yogurt at the grocery store, but we don't know what's behind this white glory until we see a video or until we find out. And yeah, you feel like, oh my gosh, the baby doesn't get any milk. The baby's taken away. How we're raping them. This is the medical term, rape rack, artificial insemination. They're making her pregnant year after year after year and taking her baby. And then you learn, wow, this milk is for her baby. Human milk is for humans, and cow's milk, and just like tiger's milk, dog's milk. It clicked. And once it clicks, you're just like, wow, like this is so simple to understand. For people who feel guilty, I would say never feel guilt, because when you see something like that and you go vegan, that is growth in your life. There are many people that watch documentaries and terrible things, yet they still continue to have meat, fish, dairy, and eggs because they justify it by saying, oh, maybe I tried vegan, it wasn't for my body, or my doctor said I need the calcium or I need the iron. They block it somehow and they still continue to do it. So people who actually make that change, bravo, because you're doing something great. You know, you're actually taking a stand that this is not for me, you know, and she's a mother no different than me. And how dare we steal a milk? How dare we take the birthright of a baby to her mother's milk? So yeah, never have guilt. It's a growth. It's a growth of learning. And wow, you become vegan is step one. There's so many other potentials in your life you can do to be the voice and do podcasts like you guys are doing, make a film, make a recipe. So never feel guilt, because we can't take away what was in the past, but we can change who we are today. It's always a growth and about learning.
Yeah, very true. In India, you mention a lot in the film that milk is it's seen as sacred, and many people use milk as rituals for the goddess and gods and so on. And also in the yoga tradition, it's very common with milk products, and many see like they are vegetarian maybe, but the step to go vegan is quite far because of the tradition. And in the yoga tradition, it is very much a vegetarian sort of path in the past.
Yes. Yes.
We interviewed Holly Scotis about this, and she has this podcast, Yoga is Vegan, and she emphasized that yoga needs to be vegan. If you really have an ahimsa approach to yoga, it needs to be vegan.
Yes.
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 What is your comment on that?
Yes, well, you know, first of all, we all need to know that, gosh, in India, dairy, milk is so holy, so sacred. We pour this milk on our deities at the temple as a symbol of love and respect. Our God, Lord Krishna, his love for ghee. These are all beautiful stories, you know, but Lord, you'll never see Lord Krishna depicted drinking milk as an adult. And we're not living in Lord Krishna's time. You know, we're 8 billion people on this planet. There might have been 100,000 people. And in the village where Lord Krishna lived, maybe people took a minute, because all the cows were free. You know, he was a cow herder and he loved his cows. He would play the flute for his cows and they would just love it. And no cows were roped. No cows were whipped or smacked. No cows, God forbid, were raped. All the babies were with their moms. It was a different era. And so people today still want to stick to those traditions. But, you know, traditions today doesn't make it moral. If we really want to live by true ahimsa, we have to give up dairy, because today's time is, we have too many people, 8 billion people. We have to, in India, 1.4 billion people. We have to make this cow pregnant year after year after year, which is causing a huge population growth. And where are they going? They're getting exported for slaughter, going for leather. Is this ahimsa? Is this what Lord Krishna would want? I feel Lord Krishna is crying from heaven that how dare we, in his name, continue these kinds of traditions. And so, you know, I teach temples that we can always pour coconut milk or simply water on our deities as a sign of respect, because coconut symbolizes God in our culture. So, you know, we need to educate people about this. And of course, yoga and vegan go hand in hand. The number one principle in yoga is yama. And in yama, they say not to steal, keep the mind free from harm, keep the body and mind and soul clean of all harming to anyone. It is the first principle. It's not just about the postures. So yoga and veganism do go hand in hand. Now, of course, in India, yoga came from India. And a lot of people that are practicing true yoga are pure vegetarians. And this is where the education has to come in, that we got to stop the dairy, because dairy and beef are two sides of the same coin. There is as much pain, or maybe even more pain, because we're making her pregnant year after year after year until she's so weak that she can't even get up on her own slaughter truck. And how could we do this at any temple or at any yoga facility? And that's when you know, education is key in India. But I feel like in America, yoga is just, it's nothing but postures. And no, it's very much more deep than that. A yogi's aim is to become liberated, freedom of all harm. A yogi's aim is to not have any suffering, you know, because food is energy at a quantum level. And food is energy. Energy never dies. It only gets transformed. So the time where you're consuming meat, fish, dairy, and eggs, you're getting in their fear, their anxiety, the pain. All of this now is going into your DNA. And this is why a lot of people have insomnia. They have anxiety. They overthink. They can't sleep. How many people are on depression medications or brain fog? So it's so important to understand that it's, I feel like even when they do Vipassana and they go for Vipassana and meditation, it's pure vegetarian, but they still have this dairy. So education
Dolly, what is Vasana? Excuse me to interrupt you. What is Vasana?
Vipassana is where people go for 2 weeks or a week or however long it is, and you learn meditation and breath work.
Yeah.
And a lot of these Vipassana centers, and they're probably doing yoga too, but they're still serving pure vegetarian, where we need to change it. And Dr. Will Tuttle talks about a lot about this in his book, that, you know, we have to be using any kind of plant-based when we go for Vipassana or yoga and all these things. We can always use a plant-based dairy. So this has to come into the yoga, because yoga and veganism are hand in hand. And I think with more education, more and more, it will go that way. We have to manifest this, that it will. In the future, more education will come out, more awareness will come out. And, you know, some yogis probably have gone vegan, and let them talk about it. And more saints and people need to talk about this and educate this. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have plans on using that film for education in schools and in a broader plan?
Yes. So right now we just came back screening our film all throughout India, Land of Ahimsa tour. And we showed in many universities, which was amazing because, you know, one student actually found out that we're going to be coming to his university. He found out the movie was close to 90 minutes. So he walked for 90 miles to promote this film at his university.
Wow.
Wow.
And many universities will say, come back, you know, do some more. How can we start something at our schools? And we taught them, start a vegan society, a club at the school, show documentaries, get a speaker, get people come in to do recipes. A lot of people did say, you know, we want to show children as well. So we want to edit it where there's maybe not as much cruelty, make it shorter, make it for children as well, because children just get it. Yeah. They just get it. When they see something, an animal being harmed, they get it completely. And Dr. Rao, actually, our executive producer, my guru, my teacher, he's my Gandhi. He would give lectures about climate change before our film. And then people would watch the film. And then the students would really connect because they're like, wow, we got to go vegan for Mother Earth, the planet today. And not only is it optimizing our health, look what we're doing, you know, the animal ethics. So I think we'll be going to India more. And yes, we do have plans to shorten the film and bring it more into the universities. We showed it at a nursing facility. They were like shocked. And the professors, of course, didn't like it too much because they're teaching the opposite. They have the calcium for strong bones. And you got to have protein and this and that. But this is all the pharmaceutical industries teaching our medical students.
This is so good to hear because it's so important. I mean, it's so important to also reach, you know, people outside the circle of vegans or so. So they're really good that you use the film for education. And
yes,
we also have plans, just a following up question there, plans to sort of promote it in the Western world, because it's very much focused on India, but it's a brilliant documentary. So it can be so interesting even in other parts of, because the dairy is cruel everywhere. So
yes. You know, the four key dimensions in this film are animal ethics, our health, climate change, and non-violence, which is Ahimsa. So this film can be shown in any city, any culture, because every culture will tell you that we eat heavy pork in our culture. Italians will say we eat a lot of spaghetti and meatballs. Every culture will make a tradition that they have. Of course, India being dairy being such a high tradition. So the movie can open you up. The film, of course, the world knows that nobody in India eats beef because a cow is considered holy and sacred. But once you watch the film, you know, you'll learn that today it's all commercial. And we still think it's holy, but it's far from the truth.
But what you also show in the film is that there are different religious groups who actually are talking about veganism, like a Muslim woman and Hindu. And I think it was so beautiful that you actually, would you say that the vegan awakening is growing in India, or the vegan groups? How is it look like? How does it look like?
Yeah, so I do think that the vegan momentum is gaining in India. And first, I would say because of the activist, number one. And I've written down, actually in Mumbai, my friend Shweta Salva, she is the founder of United for Compassion. So shout out to her. And in India, of course, there's Animal Save Movement, Delhi Activism, Anonymous for the Voiceless, Vegan Direction India, Vegan Outreach. So number one is this all started. In every city I went to, there were vegan activists. So I do think a lot of momentum is gaining. Every city I went to had a vegan restaurant in India. That's huge. That's the momentum is there. Throughout the cultures and the religions in India, I would say the Jains, because the Jains take Ahimsa the most highest. You'll notice Jains, religious Jains will wear masks. or they'll sweep before they walk. They don't even want to hurt an ant. And I feel like, the Young Janes of America here, there's a group called Young Janes of America, and a lot of them are vegan. And I spoke at a Jain vegan temple. They made changes. The first vegan temple in the United States is in California, in Anaheim, California. So I do feel the Jains are catching on. And soon, my prayer, it was trickle to the Hindu temples and the Hindus also.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
Dolly, you have already received one award, the Award of Excellence at Women's International Film Festival this year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did that mean to you?
Oh my God. So Women's International, because dairy is close to my heart, as a woman, wow, it was I have so much gratitude. And dairy's so close to my heart because I'm a female, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt. And when I found out, dairy is one of the cruelest industries on earth. It is at the core of the deepest betrayal of motherhood and the female body. And I'll tell you why. All we're doing is using her for her reproductive cycle. We're using her for this one reason, because she's a female. But, mother cows aren't milking machines. She's a sentient being. And let all mothers be free of this, and all animals be free of harm in this world. And so, yes, I have a lot of gratitude. Of course, we're applying for more festivals. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was. So, how do you think we humans can wake up? You have made this beautiful documentary, and I think it is key for people to actually understand what's going on. To really create ahimsa on this planet, we need a huge work. A huge work needs to be done. And you are really doing this beautiful film. How can we change for a more compassionate world from here? What is the road ahead, so to speak?
Yes. So for people to wake up, I would say all the vegans need to share your truth. Do not be silent. I feel like all of us vegans have special talents. If you're a good cook, start making recipes. Post them up. Post them on Instagram. Post them on YouTube. People love colorful, bright. They love recipes shown all over the world. People think we eat salad, but we're eating so many cultural foods. The second way is get into activism, street activism. You'll meet a community. It really helps people. Pass out pamphlets, educational pamphlets, documentaries. Now, not only did I go vegan and become an activist, I decided that I want to do a documentary and share it with the world. So documentaries are key. So many people have gone vegan watching Cowspiracy, What the Hell, Fork Over Knives, Seaspiracy. So this is very important. Podcasts, just like you guys are doing. These days, people don't want to listen to radio. They want to go to work and listen to an interesting podcast. Or when I'm cooking, I love to listen to podcasts. So podcasts are very educational, informational. I want to give a shout out to Jane Velez Mitchell, because she has her own TV channel now called Unchained TV. You can get it on your phone, get the app, and you'll find everything vegan on this TV channel. Movies, recipes, interviews. She actually has a live a reality show about pigs.
Yeah.
So
This,
yeah. And she's also coming as our co-executive producer. So thank you, Jane. And
Wonderful.
this is so important to do all these things. And the most important to wake up, I feel, is start meditating. When you meditate, you become one. Meditate outside, I would say. Get connected to earth and nature. And when you start meditating, you become spiritual. And when you become spiritual, you cannot bear suffering of others. And everything will happen through your spirituality. So this is also a best beautiful way to wake up.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. When will the film be released, and what platform do you know yet a little bit for the audience to?
Yes, so we had a great success in India. Now we're back and we're going to work on many platforms. Let's see, fingers crossed with where we want to show it. But we've got some people interested. So please stay tuned on our Facebook, Land of Ahimsa, Instagram, Land of Ahimsa, our website, the www.thelandofahimsa.com, and we will keep you updated where it will be shown.
Beautiful. Do you have any more things you want to share with us and the audience, Dolly?
Wow, there's so much to share, but I just feel like, you know, I anyone that has a passion, if you have a passion in life, go for it. Your passion will lead you to places that you never even know. And my passion was to be the voice for the voiceless, and look where it's lead me. So always go with your passion, and God will come and lead the way, the universe. And be one with yourself. Please get attached to nature and be one with walk barefoot, start juicing, little bit of meditation. It will all lead you to this wonderful path. So start watching documentaries, learn the truth of what's going on, do something about it, never feel guilt. But I think all of us together are playing our parts. And vegan world 2026, like Dr. Rao says,
Yes.
and we have to act like that's already happened. And that's why I'm always smiles. I always pray that India will be the most vegan friendly country in the world. And I'm manifesting this because we do have those values of Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi. In India, people pray to Bhumi Devi, which is Mother Earth, first. She's the one, she's alive. She keeps us alive. So our number one duty is to Mother Earth. The earth is not just a chunk of dirt. She's alive, and we must leave a bountiful, abundant planet for our future generations. So this is key. All these kind of things are so key. And I feel like we can get back to the land of Ahimsa if we just, kick the dairy in India. Most people are vegetarian, historically, culturally. It is still the number one country today that are vegetarians. If we can just kick the dairy, we can get back to our roots and be the land of Ahimsa. And not only India, Dr. Rao told me, but there's a plane going by. Not only India, but the whole world will be known as the land of Ahimsa. In a non-violent world, the entire world will be the land of Ahimsa. There's a beautiful word in India called karuna. Are you guys familiar? Karuna.
No.
So karuna it's just like compassion, but karuna means, you start, and this is what happened to me when I started meditating at the tree. When I started learning about what's going on with other sentient beings, their pain is your pain. Their happiness is your happiness. Her baby now is your baby. Her milk stolen is your milk stolen. When you feel anguish, when someone else is feeling anguish, karuna. Karuna is the deepest compassion one can feel. And this is what I learned through my tree, is the deep, and our production is actually called Karuna Films. So it's such a beautiful word.
So it's the same as we're all one. Do I understand it right? Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Karuna.
Yes.
that's something really to meditate on.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dolly. A pleasure meeting you. And
Thank you so much.
and hope to see you again
Yeah,
somewhere. Some.
good luck.
Love, peace, and happiness. Peace
Yes.
and light and joy to all of you. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.